Hello, welcome to Day 3 of Affiliate Summit East 2010. Going to just go through a couple brief remarks and then get to the big attraction here with Jim Kukral's keynote. So here we go. First, just wanted to thank all of the main sponsors, Epic Direct, ClickBank, ShareASale, Digital River, LinkShare, and Buy-Ad, as well as all the exhibitors, all of the folks that got other sponsorships. So thank you very much for all of those people. Some important key things today. The closing session today is at 3:15 in the Sutton Complex, Beekman and North. And that's going to be an opportunity just to do some networking, some drinks, just say goodbye to some new friends and old that you met. Got an arrival of some superheroes here, apparently. There's also free Wi-Fi in the general session, the session rooms, as well as America's Hall 2. And the wireless network for that is just Affiliate Summit with no space. And then the password, which is case sensitive, is ASE10. And we've got the Barnes & Noble bookstore right outside in the hallway there. It's open today from 10 to 3. And at 11 o'clock, right after the keynote here, we'll have a book signing from Jim Kukral. And if you haven't gotten his book already, there's still a couple free copies left over in the back corner there, so be sure to get your copy. And very important for just opened on our site the registration for Affiliate Summit West 2011, which is going to be at the Wynn Las Vegas. So we've done a little upgrade from the Rio. Very excited about that. And it's January 9th to the 11th, so be sure to book your tickets. And we need your feedback so we can continually improve for the conference. So please be sure to complete the feedback forms for the sessions. We're going to have a drawing for 10 gold passes for Affiliate Summit West 2011. So get that feedback in, and we listen to you. We get back to everybody that has any kind of criticism. We want to fix things if you have problems, so speak up. Oh, and also, this is look for these shirts if you have any questions. Same shirt as I got on here, so we want to help you. Just ask if you have any questions, problems, anything, come to us. And finally, the big man here, Jim Kukral. A little bit about him. He's been a consultant for small businesses, Fortune 500s. He's the author of the new bestseller, Attention, This Book Will Make You Money. He's been a long-time MC for Affiliate Summit. He's done pretty much everything in internet marketing, blogging, vlogging, podcasting. He's a program faculty member for the University of San Francisco's Internet Marketing Program. He's been the publisher of Revenues and a noted entrepreneur. And very excited here. Great honor to have friend and mentor Jim Kukral come up here and talk his magic.
This is the life of a mega nerd, baby. We doing things and we making it happen, right? From the trash 80 to a black Mercedes, no one can stop us now, cause we're keeping it nerdy now.
Okay, am I hot? I gotta tell you, it's great to have friends that really care about you if you haven't seen this in the front row. A quick short story. I sent out an email last week as I was promoting my book to my affiliate super friends, and they all showed up this morning in capes and masks because they're my affiliate super friends. But it really makes you feel good to have great friends. Thank you so much. Put a nice smile on my face. Thank you, Sean and Missy. I see Sean, I don't see Missy. This is really a treat for me to be, oh, she's right here, okay. This is a real treat for me to be up here as the MC of the show for, I think, the last 3 years or so. I've watched quite a bit of every keynote that's gone through here, and it's been a little bit of a challenge for me to think about what I was going to talk about today, because I've seen such amazing speakers come and go on this stage and in Vegas and in different locations. The other part of the challenge is that I know most of you. And I know you're extremely brilliant and successful people. So what the heck was I going to talk about to the people who are my mentors, my peers, the people who I take advice from? Because you guys are some of the most successful people in the internet marketing world. Let's forget just about affiliate marketing and internet marketing in general. However, I did know that this audience is not just people who are already super successful. There's a lot of people in the audience who are just starting out, who want to learn how to be successful. So there's a lot of people who work for companies who maybe want to start their own business. They want to go out and figure out how to be successful on their own. So what I did today was instead of trying to come in here and say, I'm going to teach you how to do affiliate marketing or internet marketing. What I said is, I'm going to come in here and challenge you a little bit today. Because I don't think anyone's really done that on stage yet for you. I don't think anyone's ever come up here and said, are you living the life that you want? Are you doing what you need to do? So that's what we're going to talk about today, and there's some case studies that are in here as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is life versus work. So it was several years ago, I was sitting at my desk, having a regular conversation on a regular afternoon with a client, and something happened. I started to feel the blood rush to my head. My arms started to get dizzy. I felt really horrible. I didn't know what was happening. My heart began to beat out of its chest like a cartoon character, like Bugs Bunny, and I felt like I was going to die. I had no idea what was happening to my body at that exact moment. There was nothing crazy going on in my life at the moment, I thought. But at that moment, I literally thought I was going to die. And I said to the client on the phone, I said, I have to go. I think there's something wrong with me. And I hung up the phone. And I sat there for about 20 seconds and said, what am I going to do? I'm going to die alone in my office, and my wife is going to have to come find me with my head smashed on the keyboard. And it was intense. It was a very intense moment in my life. And so what's the first thing I did? When I composed myself a little bit, I went on Google and I searched for having dizziness and lightness, and everything said heart attack, heart attack, heart attack. Now, being a reasonably healthy person, I kind of ruled that out. I said, I can't be having a heart attack. I'm 34 years old. I can't have a heart attack. So after I calmed down a little bit, I got home. I went through the next couple weeks and did my stress test on the treadmill, did that whole thing. This was before I was starting to work out, which is very hard to do if you're not a workout person. And I did all these tests with doctors. I did all of these things. And I'm sitting in my doctor's office, and he goes, Jim, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, sort of. It's not here, Jim. It's here. And it snapped at me at that exact moment. And I knew that I had a problem up here, not here. What the problem was is, if any of you know, it was anxiety attack. I had a first-time panic attack. Who's had a panic attack in this room that wants to admit it? Okay. The first time you had that panic attack, did you feel like you were dying? Yes. Because you don't know that it's a panic attack. You think you're going to collapse over and they're going to get the thing and take you to the morgue. That's what it feels like. And because you don't know how to control it in your brain, it makes it even worse. Because your heart just keeps getting worse and worse. You don't know what you're going to do. So it was at that exact moment that I realized that I wanted to build a business around a lifestyle and not the other way around. The business that I had was controlling my life. I was working way too hard. I was working 16-hour days. Money was rolling in. Clients were happy. The problem was I wasn't. And in the back of my head, I knew it. And I knew, and my brain knew, that, Jim, what you're going to have to do now is stop this. And so it was a really monumental day in my life because I realized that I needed to change the way that I was doing things. Now, it's difficult to come into a room full of affiliate marketers who are already sort of living that dream, and working the lifestyles that they already want to have. But there's a lot of people in this room and at this show who aren't there yet, and we all know that. And all of us here spend a lot of time helping those people figure out how to be successful and guiding them because we want them to experience what we're experiencing, right? So what I want to do is give you a few techniques, if you're in the room, that can help you begin to start building a business around a lifestyle and not the other way around. Number one, this is one of the things that I do really well when I speak to my clients on the phone. They come to me and say, Jim, I want to get a better job. I want to get a better career. I want to make more money on the internet. I want to start a business. And the first thing that I tell them is, what's your number? What is the number in your head that you need to earn every single month? Is it $100,000 a month? Is it $500 a month? Is it $20,000 a month? Everyone needs to have a number in their head. You know how much it costs for you to pay your bills. You know how much it costs for you to feed your family. You know how much it costs to do all the things. We get our expenses. So everyone in the room, I want you to picture the number in your head. It doesn't need to be the number where you get a Ferrari. It doesn't need to be the number where you have a Park Avenue penthouse. I want the number in your head that says, I can live a comfortable life without having all the extra stuff. So keep that number in your head right now, because it's really important. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to say to yourself, how many hours do I want to work? And this really throws people off when I ask them this question. It's not, you don't have to work 40 hours a week. You don't have to work 80 hours a week. You're building a business around a lifestyle. I'm trying to get you to decide what you want to do with your life and not let the business run you. Because it's absolutely possible for you to build a business and work 2 hours a week if that's what you want to do. So what's that hourly time in your head? And you can go ahead and say, I want to work 10 hours a week, Jim. I'd really love to work 10 hours a week. I'd love to spend the rest of the days with my kids and let my spouse go to work, and I work 10 hours a week and I make $10,000 a month. So let's have this scenario in the head. $10,000 a month, and I want to work 20 hours a week. Sounds pretty darn good to a lot of people, especially people who have full-time jobs. To internet marketers, these numbers may be a little inflated. But it's good. That means you guys are successful. And you're already living the dream. But to the people in this room who aren't, this is where we need to go for. Now when you have this in your head, you can begin to work backwards. And when you start working backwards, you can start to build that business that's going to get you there. Now, what is that business going to be? Is that business going to be an affiliate? Potentially. Is that business going to be some type of internet marketing thing? Potentially. Is that business going to be a franchise owner? No. Franchise owners, small business owners, retail shop owners, they work all the time. You know, there are different things you're going to have to try and do if you want to get to this goal. $100,000 a month, whatever it is. And regular jobs are fine. They're great. But they take a lot of time, and sometimes they don't pay you a lot of money. So if this is what you're looking to do, there are options for you. Aaron Wall runs a very popular program called SEObook.com. And Aaron had an ebook. This is what this was when it first started. It was just an ebook, and I think he sold it for $100 or $199 back in the day. And at one point, his wife said to him, why are we selling an ebook when we can put it in some type of recurring thing and make a ton of more money from it? So that's exactly what they did. They put it online. They created a bunch of online tools for SEO people, and they put a web forum on it and sold it for $100 a month instead of $100 one time. So you can imagine having 1,000 or 3,000 or 10,000 people paying him $100 a month helps him actually earn a heck of a lot of money and goes back to earning that type of living that you want to earn. It's possible for you to do the exact same thing. The problem is that a lot of people don't value what they know a lot about. A lot of people don't value what they're really good at or what they're passionate about. It happens to me every single day. I meet somebody who says, you know, I've got this, I know a lot about this, but Jim, nobody wants to know about that. Nobody cares what I know. Nobody wants to get that information from me. You're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. Everybody knows a lot about something. Everybody does. I don't care if you're the world's fastest tennis shoe tire in the world, or if you're the world's best affiliate or picture framer or whatever it could be. You know a lot about something. The problem is you're not taking that information and putting it online in a way that allows you to do this. I see a lot of people come out and create blogs. I love blogs. I'm not down on blogs. I've been blogging since forever. But, inside joke. So, I've been blogging since forever, but the problem with it is, it's very, very hard to monetize a blog. And I know that a bunch of you in here have done it. And you're going to say, that's not true, Jim, I've done it. Well, guess what? You're like 0.00001% of people who have made significant income from it. This type of income, the income where you can just sit around in your house and blog. It doesn't happen for a lot of people. What I see is a lot of people come to me and they say, I'm very frustrated. I've been blogging for 3 years and I can't seem to make $50 a month. And what I try to tell them is, this is the path you need to go down. Take the information that you've been giving away for free and start putting in a format that people will pay you for. Now, this is not an argument against free. Free is great. I have a free ebook I give away. I spend probably 4 to 5 hours a week on the phone for free with people who want my advice, and I don't charge a single dime. I get free. Free is great. Free is great on your blog for search engine rankings. Free is great for all of those types of things. It's a great way to give back. The problem with free is you can't get to that when you're doing free. And if you want to be successful and be like the affiliate marketers in this room and start to live a lifestyle that you want, this is one way you're going to have to do it. SEO Book's a great example. This guy is named Matthew Lesko. And Matthew is the annoying question mark guy, and he's somebody I write about in the book. The reason I bring him up here is, number one, to talk about how much attention he gets because of these crazy suits he wears. But the point is that Matthew has built a 25-plus year career selling free money from the government off of this brand image that gets people to look at him. And he's very, very annoying. But he's very, very wealthy. Sidetrack here. Is your ego holding you back from making money? Because this guy's for 25 years been walking around in this crazy suit. He's been on Letterman 7 times, and he's been on Oprah. And I can give you about 200 other places where he's been. This guy has been making an entire career out getting people to look at him and then taking out their wallet, taking money out, and handing it to him. He's living a lifestyle that he wants because he went out and was his authentic self and decided to be this wacky, crazy guy. So I ask the people in the room right now, is your ego holding you back from that? Is there a reason you're not successful because you're afraid of what people are going to think about you? Are you in business to make money? Or are you in business to worry about what people are thinking about you? This is one of the great ways that you can go out there and stand out and get noticed. But back to the point. He has built a 25-year career around a lifestyle, which he wanted to have. He's actually this person. If you talk to him, which I did, he's this person. He loves being this person. It's not an act. He walks out of his house. He goes through the airport. He drives a car with question marks on it. He loves it. He's a wacky guy. And people look at him all the time. And I said, how do people react? He said, 99.9% of the people come up to me and tell me how much they love me. It's the insecurity in your brain that makes you think that people aren't going to like me if I do something a little bit different. I want to talk a little bit about success. Talk about a couple case studies here. So if I told you there was a product on the market today that sold 4.6 million units of it every week and owned an 80% market share of a $700 million business, does anyone want to guess what that product is? Anyone? I didn't know what the product was either. It's this. Let's look at those numbers again. 4.6 million bottles of this are sold every week in the United States. It is 80% of the shop market, which is a potentially $700 million yearly market. These are not numbers I made up. These come from a New York Times article that I was reading about a few weeks ago. And as I was reading this article, I was completely blown away. Completely blown away. You don't get numbers like this unless you are really on the ball and you've got something really special. Who else has numbers like this? Google. But it's $700 billion market, not 700 million. So when I'm reading this story, I said to myself, there's got to be some lessons for us in this. There's got to be, because you can't get an 80% share of a $700 million business unless you know what you're doing. There had to have been some cognitive decisions when creating this product and doing the marketing on this product in order for it to be successful. Because not many products just go viral just because they're there. So here's lesson number 1 that I got from this. Say what you do. Far too often I deal with people who come to me and they don't know how to communicate what it is that they do. 5 Hour Energy does a great job of that. They come right out and say, we give you 5 hours of energy. It's the name of the actual product. I met a woman who had a company name called Aviva LLC. Does anyone have any idea what Aviva LLC is? Nobody did. I never did. Her clients didn't know. The people who pay her money who potentially want to give her money had no idea what she did for a living. You're really under the 8 ball when you can't get your clients to know what you do instantly. She rebranded herself to the database diva because she was one of the best database small business people in the country. And the second she did that, everyone started to get it. Everyone started to understand what she did. But I see this hesitance, going back to the ego thing. How many people are just like, well, they taught me in school that I was supposed to have this corporate name with this and an LLC on the end. Okay. But guess what? We live in an instant society nowadays. It's no longer okay for you to let people not understand what you do instantly. The stuff that we used to know years ago about remember the 4 to 6 second stuff that everyone taught us? It's completely blown out of the water. Then I heard somebody, I think it was Peter Shankman last year, said that, the average time that people pay attention is 2.7 seconds, which is how long it takes to read a tweet. Well, guess what? We're a year later now, and it's instant. It's not 2.7 seconds. It's not 4 to 6 seconds. It's instant. If you're not saying what you're doing in your brand name, in your mission statement, and what you do, people are ready to move on. And 5-Hour Energy is a great example of this. Number 2, solving problems. There are 2 reasons people come to the internet, and 2 reasons only. Number 1, to have a problem solved, and number 2, to be entertained. Everything we do online falls under one of those 2 categories. Everything. I've yet to have somebody debate me on this issue because everything falls under one of those 2 categories. Tim Carter from Ask the Builder taught me this years ago, and it's stuck with me every single day. Solve people's problems. Your product, your service, your business. If you're not solving problems for your customers, why in the heck are they going to give you their money or sign up for your email list or do whatever it is you want them to do? Know your customer. This is really one of the beautiful things about 5-Hour Energy. It's not 1-hour energy. It's not 12-hour energy. It's 5-hour energy. Let me ask you a question. Who wants 1 hour of energy? Who wants 12 hours of energy? When they sat down to create this product, somebody sat there and said, you know what? We need to think about this because we have to think about why our customers are going to consume our product. And this is applicable to everyone in this room, your product or your service. Why are people going to use our product? And think about it. What is the exact amount of hours of energy you might need after having a heavy lunch? About 5 hours. What is the exact amount of hours of energy you might need when you're about to go clubbing with your friends at 11 o'clock in Vegas? 5, 6 hours. Okay? Some people maybe longer. But if they would have called it 12-hour energy, no one would have bought it because they would have said that's a load of you-know-what. It's a scam, it's speed, it's something else. It's believable. 1 hour energy, everyone said, I don't want 1 hour of energy. Saying what you do, solving problems, knowing your customer. If you know who your customer is and anticipate what they're going to want from you, then you can build a product or service that they're actually going to buy from you. Because that's what this is all about. The reason we're all here, besides networking and meeting with friends, is to figure out how to generate more sales, more leads, and more publicity. That's what this is all about. Be the alternative. There are 300-something million people in the United States. Guess how many of those people drink coffee? I couldn't find the official number. I think it's like what I read, I think it's about 100 million. There are 200 million, or in other words, another 2/3 of the country who don't drink coffee. What are the primary reasons you drink coffee? To get energy. They're the alternative. There was really nothing else that existed on the market in this form and this size that allowed you to get the energy you needed in the time that you needed it. Strategically, this is why this company has done so well. This is why they've got an 80% market share of $700 million. They sat and they thought about these things before they created this product. Being the alternative is a great way to do things. When Sean and Missy went on the Affiliate Force cruise 9 years ago, and it was the worst thing ever, they said, we're going to make our own show because he's not doing it the right way. They became the alternative, and the alternative became the mainstream because they did it better. There's always somebody looking for the other side of the equation. And there's always an opportunity for you as a product or a service or as an affiliate to create something that other people will want aside from the mainstream. And number 5, make it easy. And this is the biggest one. This is the absolute biggest one. Because if you're not making it easy for your customers to buy from you, they're not going to buy from you. As I said, we live in an instant society. People want the ability to come and give you their money if you give them what they need. Frank Luntz said it yesterday. People under 30 have no problem with paying for something as long as they can get it right now and it's exactly the thing that they need. And that's where we're going in this country. That's where we're going in the world. We're a disposable society. People do not have time to deal with your fancy PayPal button on your website. I see service businesses screw this up all the time. If you're a graphic designer in here or a plumber or anybody who's got a service business and you're trying to sell things online, I see this happen all the time. You put that little PayPal button underneath your page that makes it seem like it's easy for people to buy. Here's the truth about that little PayPal button. Consumers, regular people, don't really know PayPal or don't trust PayPal. And I have nothing against PayPal, but if you're trying to make the most money you possibly can selling your products or services, you got to get away from that little PayPal thing. And here's the other truth. If you're selling to small business owners, they're never going to pay you through PayPal. Sure, in the internet industry they might, but if you're going after regular consumers, they want a real credit card transaction. Because the truth is that small business owners have credit cards, and they're willing to put their money on them. The other truth is that people who say they're out of money still have credit cards, and they're willing to use them. As long as you're doing all of the things that we're talking about here, as long as you're communicating to them in the right way and giving them what they want and knowing who they are. Or the dreaded call me for a quote button on the graphic designer or the person's website. So in other words, I want to pay you. I want to open up my wallet and give you some money. I want you to come to my house and fix my toilet. But you're going to make me fill out your form and then call you to double check, and I just want you to come now. I just want you to come to the house. I have an immediate problem. The problem is right now. But you're going to make me go here so that I can get you to come over, so that I can get you to come help me. Translation, I don't come here. I stay over there because you're making it too hard for me to buy from you. This applies to affiliates as well. Now, I know we're pretty good at this as affiliates. You know, we've got the big call to actions. We've got the click here. We've got the sign up now. We've got all of those things. We're really good at this at affiliates. But I think that we can do even better. So making it easy is really one of the most important points when we're talking about being successful, selling online or off, actually. So when you go back and you think about how 5 Hour Energy did this, 80% share of a $700 million market. And you look back at these examples, you can see how they got to this point. I brought up Google a few minutes ago. Google does the exact same thing as they do. They're the world's biggest problem solvers. That's what Google does. And remember, the reason why we go online? To have a problem solved. So when we need to have a problem solved, we go to the world's biggest problem solvers. It's brilliant. And that's why they have so much traffic. That's why they have the market share of everything. I want you to picture your product or your service in your head right now, and I want you to think about how easy you're making it. I want you to picture, are you thinking like Google? Are you solving people's problems? At the front of your website, or your blog or your affiliate site, does it say, we do this, 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 and this? Or does it say, or what it should say, is, here's the problem we know you have, here's how we solve it for you. Click on the PayPal button and buy from us. So, this is the part that I get really excited about because this is something that I'm very passionate about. I have a saying that I've been doing for a couple of years now, and it's kind of blown into its own little thing. Doers get what they want, and everyone else gets what they get. Doers get what they want, and everyone else gets what they get. If you want to be successful in this business, in any business, especially the internet business, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to get up out of the chair and go make something happen. The problem with this is that there's a lot of things that stop us from doing it. When you go to conceive an idea, this is usually what happens, right? The simple formula for the conception of an idea for being successful or failure is coming up with the idea first of all. And then we go out and we ask or we take a shot. We give it a go. It's a do. What happens if we go out and we make it happen? We get a success or we get a failure. So the first part of that is the idea. And then we go out and we make it happen. The problem is, what happens is most of us go out and we conceive the idea. And then we're unsure about the idea. We're afraid that we're going to go out and try it. We're afraid that we're going to give it a go. And then we never take the shot. We never try. We never do. And then it's absolutely only one answer. The answer is failure. In the previous scenario, there are two options: success or failure. Too often I see people who come to me, and a great example, I teach classes for the University of San Francisco online. And I get a lot of people who just want to learn the beginning parts of internet marketing. You know, we all like to help people who are just starting out. And those people come to the classes and they see all the material and they do all of the work, but they never, when they get off the phone or after they're done watching the videos, they go back and they watch TV for 4 hours. Or they go play the Wii for 5 hours. The difference between successful people and not successful people at a grander scale is the ability to go out there and do something. And I know you all feel that. It's tough in our jobs and our lives. We have families. We have all kinds of things happening. But at some point, you're going to have to go out and take that crazy idea you have, that fun idea, that outrageous idea, that idea that can actually turn into something, and take a shot and then make it happen. That's why I love affiliate marketing, because they're entrepreneurs. They're people out here who have been successful doing that exact same thing. Sean and Missy, all my friends here. Everyone sitting here is exactly that type of person who didn't go to this scenario. They went to this scenario. Now here's the dreaded scenario. This is the one that happens to most people. So we have the idea, we have the procrastinating about the idea, we have the lamenting and crying about the idea. Because we didn't do it, then we blame ourselves because it's not very popular. We point fingers at everyone else because the idea didn't work and we never followed through with it. Then we get really angry because the idea never happened or we never made it work. Then, of course, we get drunk and drunk dial our ex-girlfriend. Wash, rinse, repeat, and this is what happens. So go back to the scenario here. Does anyone see how this cycle works here? How do we break out of this cycle? How do we start taking the ideas that we have and start turning them into success instead of failure? We got to avoid this anymore. All of these emotions, fear, anger, jealousy, blaming other people, procrastination, these are all things that stop us from being successful. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter one bit. You can be a dentist. You could be an affiliate. You could be anyone. Every great entrepreneurial story starts with the conception of an idea, going out there and making it happen, and having a success or a failure. And I think I know every single person in this room can go and do that. I absolutely know that. So let's talk a little bit quickly about ideas. Because ideas are the genesis for how you're going to be successful moving on down the line. We're getting close to the end here. Here are some ways that you can start generating ideas for yourself. Because if you don't have ideas, you're never going to get to where you need to go. So one of the best things that you can do is begin to start freeing your mind from everything that you've pre-learned. When we're born, society tells us, act like everyone else. Society says, be like everybody else. Think like everybody else. We go to grade school. They nail it into our heads. Be like everyone else. Don't think differently. There are days when I want to pull my 8 and 5-year-old out of school because I'm thinking about these things and I want to get in my car and drive down to school and pull them out and just sit at home with them and let them draw or something. Because I'm scared that they're going to grow up with the mindset that they can't think creatively. I'm scared that the teachers are telling them that ideas are bad, that you should do the same thing that everybody else has done before you, which is go to school, get a job that you don't like, and live a full life. And that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want them to do. So I want everyone in here to start thinking about how you can forget what you've been taught. Because you're never going to be able to come up with really creative ideas until you free your mind, Neo. So here are a couple of tips. Get in the idea mindset. Remember those movies from the 80s with like Tom Hanks and the advertising agencies, and they were all like in those fun rooms with the pool tables, and it was like this cliche thing from the 80s, like all the advertising agencies. Everyone wanted to work at them because they had fun. There's a reason that they had those rooms. There's a reason why we come up with our best ideas when we're on the treadmill or in the shower. We freed our minds from thinking about the regular day-to-day things that we need to do. I don't want you to, what I want you to do is, when you get a good idea like that and it comes to you, I don't want you to throw it in the trash. Real quick story. There's a guy by the name of John Spolstra who wrote one of my favorite books of all time. I highly recommend it. It's called Marketing Outrageously. And you can't miss the cover. It's a sumo wrestler dunking a basketball. Cannot miss it. I found it in an airport in Cincinnati on the way to Vegas once. And I read the book from cover to cover on the flight. And John was one of the pioneers of sports marketing back in the day. This was in the 80s. John realized that sports was not about sports. Sports was entertainment. Again, let's go back to the 2 reasons why people come to the internet. It's kind of applicable. But John was a master at coming up with creative ideas and getting people to buy from him, subscribe to him. Isn't that what we're all trying to do here? We're trying to get people to come and buy from us or subscribe from us or click on our links and go buy from somebody else. John had a great attitude about ideas, and I've held to this idea of this in my head for so many years now. He said, you know how I know when an idea is fantastic, like a really great idea? He says, I walk into a room full of people, just like this, and I tell them the idea. If half of the room cringes in horror and the other half of the room laughs their butts off, I take the idea and I hand it to my team and I go, let's go. You know how I know when an idea completely fails? Completely? When everyone just looks at me blankly. If you're not creating a reaction or an emotion in somebody, customers, it's really kind of hard to get them to pay attention to you and get them to give you their money. Create a reaction in people with creative ideas. There's a company by the name of Jones Soda. A lot of you probably know who they are. They're about it was like 15 years or 10 years ago. They were a $20 million company. They make really good soda based out of Seattle. But they're competing against Coke and Pepsi, who collectively spend about $1 billion a year on advertising. When you're a $20 million company competing with giants who are spending your budget times 10 million, how in the heck are you going to stand out? So Peter Van Stolk was sitting in his car one day on a drive, and he said to himself, how am I going to compete? Because as a CEO of a company, as a business person, you're always constantly thinking, how am I going to compete with competition? I don't have their budget. I don't have those types of things. How am I going to do it? How am I going to stand out? And he had an idea. He said, I'm going to make soda that tastes like turkey and gravy. Right. Did everyone just see the reaction? You know an idea is good when you get a reaction. We're talking about consumerism here, okay? We got reactions here. Some people laughed, some people gasped in horror. Exactly what I told you was going to happen. Peter took his company from $20 million to $44 million in 4 years, directly off the back of about $25 million in free publicity that he got from making some really disgusting sodas. In other words, $20 million company got $25 million in free publicity from an idea he had while driving in a car on way to dinner with his wife. He's a doer. He's somebody who took the idea, went out, and made it happen. It's as simple as that. But he had a creative idea and he made it go. Anyone in this room can be doing the same exact thing. Listening is also very important. Listening to what your customers have to say. There's so many people who are out there and they're continuing to build their products and services, and they're not really listening. I mean, I'm not talking about social media listening, which is great, listening to Google Alerts and listening to what people are saying about your industry or your customer. But have you ever really picked up the phone and talked to a customer and said, Nick, why do you buy from me? You've been a customer for a couple years, or why do you actually give me money or buy my products and services? Because what you're going to find out from them could be a completely different answer than what you thought. There's a lot of people out there who buy from you from completely different reasons than you think. One of the exercises I go through with people is you don't sell blank, you sell blank. De Beers, the biggest diamond company in the world, does not sell diamonds. Does anyone want to guess what they sell? Forever. Okay? Nike does not sell athletic apparel. Nike sells winning. You may not sell what you think you sell, but until you start asking your customers, the people who click on your websites, the people who buy from you or do whatever it is they do, you're never going to know. Until you pick up the phone or send them an email and ask them, you're never going to know. I love this one. Do the opposite. Remember the George Costanza episode in Seinfeld? Where he says, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what I've been doing for the last 40 years. And he walks up to the woman at the bar and says, George Costanza, I live with my parents, I'm unemployed, or something else, and I don't, yeah. So do the opposite of what you've been doing for a long time. If sales are down, there's no reason that you can't go out there and go, you know what, I'm going to flip this whole thing around. What do you have to lose? Quick story, because I know we're running out of time. I was doing consulting for a company that was 6 months from dying. And they called me and they said, Jim, we're 6 months from dying. They knew it. We have to close our doors, fire everybody, and be 6 months from dying because our competitor is kicking our butts in multiple ways. Why? So I went back to my cave. I spent 3 days figuring it out. What I found out was the competitor was not afraid to lose their ego, was not afraid to do, was not afraid to listen to the customer. The client that hired me was interested in what people thought about him. He was interested in his business that he'd been running for the last 35 years and nothing else. So I came back into the room with this big, long proposal, and I presented for 2 hours, and I said, we're going to do this, and it's going to be great, and we're going to do this, and I analyzed their competitors, and that guy almost threw me out of the office. I can't believe I got through the whole thing. He sat there with a scowl on his face the whole time. I would never do anything like that. And it wasn't whack. I didn't tell him to put a question mark suit on. I told him he needed to start doing the same things as his competitor were doing, but doing it better. I told him he needed to start listening to his customers. I told him he needed to start solving problems for people instead of just ramming his products and services down their throats. 6 months later, the place is out of business. I did not call him and tell him I told you so. I wouldn't do that. Felt like doing it. All right, so let's wrap with this because this is really so important. If you want to be remarkable, you're going to need to do something remarkable. This is where I get all Tony Robbins, Billy Mays on you, right? Okay? Great Billy Mays story. I know we don't have time. I met Billy Mays about a year and a half ago at a show, and he said, Jim, I said, well, give me your best tip, Billy. He said, never show effort. Let me show you. And he grabs a ShamWow or whatever, Zorbies or whatever it was, and he goes, watch this. And this was off camera, and we were just kind of in a room, and he gets it wet, and he holds it up, and he goes, watch my face. I'm like, all right. And he squeezes it out, and he goes, did you see 1 ounce of effort in my face when I squeezed that out? And I said, absolutely not. He goes, never show effort. Never show how hard it is, especially when you're selling a product. When you're selling a product or service, we kind of already talked about that. But think about how brilliant that is. The other thing he was great at was the whole, pulling a customer in. As affiliates, that's kind of how we're doing it already, isn't it? We big banner ads and click buttons, and we're pulling people in. It's the same principles that master marketers and salespeople have doing forever. And we can always be better at it. Billy Mays was remarkable because he went out there and did something remarkable. He had a great brand. He got people to pay attention to him. But too often, people start to think that I can't do that. I'll give you a story, a personal story. It was about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, and I was in kind of a funk. This was before my panic attacks. And I sat back and I was like, why is everyone else successful? Because I'm blogging, I'm awesome, I'm blogging, and I'm doing, maybe this was around the time YouTube started, I'm doing videos. I'm awesome. But I'm looking at all my friends and everyone I know, and they're getting all the publicity, they're getting all the leads, they're making all the money. And I had the pity party. I sat there and had the pity party for a year. Then something different happened. I started to hang around with successful people more often, and I started to actually watch how they do things and how hard they work and how successful they are because of the work that they do. Remarkable people are remarkable because they go out there and do something remarkable. They take the ideas that they have and they make it happen. Start hanging around with successful people. Every single person you see wearing a cape here today, this is how I get back at you. I want you to walk up to them right now after this and say, can you mentor me and tell me what I need to do to be successful? Because everyone sitting right here has done it. And they know how to do it. They're all remarkable people because they've hung out with other remarkable people and seen it happen. And they've put the work ethic in. It doesn't happen overnight. Nobody just falls into success. They don't just wake up one day and get $1 million and 1 million people visiting their website and watching their videos. If you're a blogger right now, stop with the, I'm writing blog entries and I want to be rich. It doesn't happen that way for a lot of people. If you're blogging about architecture, I want you to write blogs about architecture. I want you to create a video every day about architecture. I want you to do a live hour streaming Ustream show about architecture every day. I want you to do a podcast about architecture every day. You're not going to fall into it. It's a lot of effort. The good news is that the work that you can do is pretty easy to do now with all the tools that are available to us, and most of them are free. Remarkable people do. Remarkable people are successful because they go out there and take it a step further. And once you decide to take it a step further is the day that you can start sitting over here and be in a group of people who actually have gone out there and done it and be successful. So I think that's all my time. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Go out, live a remarkable life.
Thank you very much, Jim Kukral. Great job. And I see there's still a couple of copies of the Attention book back there, so go grab your copy if you haven't already. And Jim's going to be heading out there to the lobby to sign these books. So get your book, get your autograph, ask him a couple questions. And Brian Littleton's right here if you want a mentor.